What's going on? Casuals Fantasy Football Podcast. Got 4 mics blazing today. We got our.
Are you Blaze, bro? I forgot for my Blaze.
We got a put it in the rank bank episode.
Cashing checks. Deposit that.
You trying to find a drop?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to get ready, bro.
All right, that's cool. We got Richie here today.
How's it going, guys? How you guys' week's going?
Good.
Better now, man. Let me cut you off. Ken, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. It was a long day. I had to clone myself today. My son had a track meet at 4:30, and my daughter had a softball game at 4:30. So I had to be in
both.
I
Somehow,
had a little bit of both. Yeah.
He does it all, man.
You're such a champ, dude.
Super dad.
Such a champ, bro.
Got Ben in the house. How you doing, Ben?
You're
Got Bo in the house.
Hey, Daddy Jangles.
What's going on, guys? All right, we got ranking show today. We're gonna do running backs.
Run it back.
1 through 12. So it should be a pretty quick show for you guys. Next ranking show is going to be 13 to 24. I don't think we're going to go any farther than 24. I think after that.
You think?
Yeah, I'd just stop it.
We can probably do 12 through 36 or 13 through 36.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're just going to go to 24. And then, I mean, we got a lot of receivers.
We can do groups of 14 since 14s are now RB1s to us.
Only in the one league. Yeah, what do you guys think about that draft, by the way? 40 rounds,
It was long as
14 teams.
Yeah, it took like, 5 hours?
Yeah, 5.5-ish.
It was the longest thing I've ever seen.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was pretty damn long.
Yeah, it didn't go too bad, I didn't think. I thought it went a little better.
The longer it went, the more it hurt.
I think it was very intriguing on how defensive players went, some of the bigger time linebackers.
Big time?
Well, let's explain. So it's a super flex. It's a dynasty league, super flex.
14 teams.
14 teams, tight end premium.
At all the
IDP. So defensive player. So we had to draft 40 rounds, guys you've never heard of.
What's 14 times 40, real quick, off the top of your head?
It's 560. So
I don't know that. 560. If that's true, then 560 players.
it's 560.
That's right.
Drafted.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a
10-second nomination time, 10-second reset every time there was a bid.
And it was an
That
auction
thing
draft.
was long.
and it was auction on top of it. So it
was
wasn't
dope
like
it was dope as hell though.
it went pretty quick after everybody got $1 left.
Bo's max bid was $1 after about
Yeah, I was
15
definitely
rounds.
the first one with the
That's why it was the worst for him.
Yeah, literally, it was like I bid $1 with people having like their whole benches left, and I'm just sitting.
Bo would
like,
put $1 on someone, clench his ass cheeks, and then they'd get sniped, and he'd be like, "Guys!"
and then I'd run upstairs, hang out with my wife.
What were you going to say, Richie?
once Ben had the most money for the longest, once he filled his bench out after taking all
It went by really fast after I used it all.
after taking all
Then
of Al's players.
Yeah, and then he was an idiot and just kept sniping one dude. Stupid.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing it on
No,
purpose.
he wasn't. No, he was putting up good players. I mean,
Yeah.
Shout out to Al. I think he listened. So
Yeah, well, and he ran it, so
Yeah.
he started it. So yeah,
Yep. I mean, I
he's
thought
got
it
two
went
first
pretty
names.
well. Mm-hmm.
Alex Dennis.
And Deadeye Al, and Deadeye.
Well,
Al.
his last name's Dennis, so
Oh,
get it.
that's cool.
He's got two first names.
All right. Well, let's get into this rank bank.
Slide it in the rank bank.
All right, guys. So what we did is we all composed a list of our rankings 1 through 12. I don't know if anybody else did Dynasty. I went ahead and did both.
If it was up to me, I would only have Dynasty.
I know.
Same.
I know that, but I
Ben and I are
went
gonna
ahead and did both. So
Ben and I are going to start a show on the side just doing Dynasty.
I love Dynasty too. Why can't I join?
Because you would just worry about trading.
Our names start with a B.
Ooh. Blockbuster.
There it is.
bitch.
Bitch boys.
That one too.
Backstreet Boys.
Backdoor boys. That's more like it.
Hey.
All
Whoa,
right.
whoa.
Backdoor boys.
Whoa.
So all right. So Ben has the rankings, so he has to pretty much say who is number one, number
knows.
2. Yep, no one knows. We sent them all, and he comprised a accumulation.
Yeah, these are going to be our consensus.
C-U-M.
We're
Yep,
gonna-
ACUM.
Are we doing 1 through 12 or 1 through 14?
1 through 12.
Okay.
We should start at 12 and count down.
No, I don't like it that
No,
good.
because once you get to the top, you're like, okay, these guys are left.
Yep.
Fuck you.
I think
all.
before we start this, I want to touch on something.
Whoa.
You like that?
Please.
Where's
So,
that line start?
I've noticed whenever you guys tier things, you tier it as essentially for the majority of the people that we're talking to, they're playing in 12-person leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So your tiers of, for example, QB1 or RB1 or RB2 is 1 through 12, 12 through 24,
13 to 24, yeah.
same shit, different day, and then 25 through 36.
Correct.
I'm curious as to why you don't dig into it further and have more tiers so that there's more of a distinguishing line between who is actually an RB1 and who is an RB2. Because for me, I tier 5 times.
So you're saying
You guys tier 3 times.
You mean like 1 through 4 is an RB1? 5?
No, or you're saying like Mahomes is in his own category as a quarterback. Then you got Kyler, Lamar, Dak, and then you skip a category and you got Herbert.
Well, that's I'll go back
like,
to QB ranking so I don't spoil it or anything. But essentially, yeah.
That's
so like
what
for
I
example,
do as far as my rankings. But for this, I've just been doing 12s.
But that's what I'm saying. Like maybe to help people that are watching understand what like tiers even mean or how they could help you create your own rankings if you wanted to. Like for example, in our quarterback rankings consensus, our 1 through 5 or 1 through 12 was Patty Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, all the way down to 12, right? Mm-hmm. And my tier 1 instead is just the top 5: Patty Mahomes, Kyler, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, and Lamar. Because if you have those, they're a step above everybody else that's 8 spots below them.
Mm-hmm. But I understand exactly what you're saying. For me, if I'm listening, especially if I'm new to this, those guys are all gone before you get to your next pick anyway.
I'm here. I promise. I'm here.
So I think whenever you go 1 through 12, it's that next, like you're saying, next tier for that second round coming through. I think it's just 6 in one, half a dozen in the other.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't use that when I draft, but some people like you guys do use it that way. I pretty much know those guys are elite. I don't have to, I guess, basically put it in their own tier. I know those guys are in that tier.
Could you see the zit on my face?
I can see the inside of your nose.
I think it just makes it easier for me to look at it and think, if I'm getting the 1 through the 5 of my rankings, I know that I'm getting players that can change the outcome of whether or not I'm either making playoffs or pushing for a win. And anybody that's 5 or 6 spots below them, I'm happy with, but I'm not as happy.
I guess for the basic fantasy football player, I mean, it's better for just to have the 1 through 12 because there's a lot more teams or a lot more leagues that are 12-team leagues. But I think when it comes down to having your own tier, you could have Bo could have 6 people in his tier 1, and you could have 4 in your tier 1.
100%.
So I think for just for like a fantasy aspect for just a common fantasy football player, it's probably easier for them to understand.
Those are called casuals.
Shut up. I literally said everything but casual. But it's probably just best to have,
1 through 12.
Yeah.
I
understand your point because it's more of like a personal opinion. Go
I
ahead,
just
Bo.
wanted everyone to understand that sorry, go ahead, Bo.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm the one that's normally interrupting, so keep going.
I was going to say, I just wanted to distinguish the fact that just because somebody is 1 through 12, obviously there's a big drop from one of those spots to the other.
I mean, you can make your rankings however the hell you want. I mean, you can have number 1, and then number 2, and number 3. But I think the whole point of what we're doing here is
Generalizing so it's easier to understand.
No, the whole point of this is helping the casual understand that if you get one of these guys, you should be comfortable with them as your RB1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The next show is if you get one of these guys, you should be comfortable with them as your RB2.
And frankly, if you're in a 10-man league, just stop it at 10.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much, if you're in a 14, then get the last 2 next week. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I've seen tiers like that. I seen one today on Twitter that somebody had like 4 quarterbacks, and then they had like elite. They had super elite, like elite, and then good,
like S tier, A tier.
Yeah, yeah, stuff like that.
That's the first thing I noticed when you sent your.
Is that I tier
your
them out?
rankings. Yeah.
It just makes it a little bit easier for me to look at instead of just 1 through whatever, So I just wanted to throw that out there for people to think about.
Do it how you want.
All right.
And I'm going to do it how I want.
We can kick this off. This number 1 is going to be pretty easy.
And again, this is we're going to say redraft, and if we want to talk about each player, say where you had them at Dynasty. I didn't mean to cut you off, Ben.
No, you're fine.
Say where you had them at Dynasty and where you had them at redraft if you want. But this is a redraft.
Well, you're the only one that did Dynasty rankings right now, though.
Okay, I didn't know if anybody else did it.
I haven't put mine in yet.
Okay.
I was going to say number 1 was easy because it was a consensus, but it was not. It was actually 1 and 2 are tied. So we'll just start off with who me and Bo had first because we're the most important.
How are they tied?
How
are they tied?
Because I guess I'm spoiling it. Me and you had Christian McCaffrey 1, Dalvin Cook 2. Ken and Richie had Dalvin Cook 1. And
Richie had C-Mac 1, Dalvin 2.
Did he? Okay, then I messed up the top 2. I'm retarded. Number 1 is Christian McCaffrey.
And cancel. So who's number 1, Ben?
Christian McCaffrey.
Go ahead, Ken.
I had him 2 for redraft. I had Dalvin Cook 1. I was the only one.
Why?
Just
The injury?
Injury. Sam Darnold's new in Carolina.
I think that helps him though.
Yeah, I think that helps him.
I mean, you think, but there's no evidence. There's nothing on the field yet. It's new offense for Sam Darnold. It's like his 4th one since he's been in the league. I don't know that it's a sure thing. Even though I have him as number 1 in Dynasty, which I know that doesn't seem to make sense, but
I know we'll eventually get to receivers, but where do you have Devontae Adams?
Probably 3 or 4.
And if Rodgers leaves, where do you have Devontae Adams?
I think he's still top 10, but he's probably 5 or 6.
Okay.
Because he's an outlier.
So, are you trying to make a point?
You saw where I was going.
Yeah, are you dropping Adams without Rodgers? I know we're getting into wide receivers now, but
Let's go to McCaffrey.
yeah.
How did we get on this topic?
I was hoping I was going to catch him, and I think he's an outlier, so I think he's going to stay the same. And I was going to catch you with, well, how is C-Mac not?
Yeah. So your point was,
And plus, he's coming off an injury. He hasn't had to come off an injury yet. So
he came back for like a week or 2 last year and scored 30 points.
And then he was like, "Yeah, just kidding, I'm done."
yeah, and then he shut it down again. So I don't. He's probably going to end up the number 1, but Dalvin Cook's going to be right there. So I don't.
I saw a picture of Dalvin today. That boy jacked.
Yeah, he's jacked.
I think I sent it to you.
Yeah, it's on the group chat. All right,
Dude.
Huh?
Tutu.
Yeah, Tutu is a little boy.
He was me.
all right. Why'd you guys have a Christian number 1? I mean, other than
Why'd you guys both look at me?
I mean, I'm just asking. I'm the only one that didn't. So
Lead the charge, King.
Oh, so me? Oh.
Yeah, you want to be heard, dog.
I am heard. I'm very well heard this episode. That's awesome. But no, I had C-Mac number 1 just because of the play that he gets, the usage that he gets, and I know it's a different system and different coach than what it was 2 years ago when he was the obvious RB1 in all formats. But he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's very good inside the numbers. He does everything well. There's no reason why he can't be the RB1 consistently for the next 4 or 5 years without even hesitation. Dalvin Cook, there's a lot more. I mean, I can't really say that because there's weapons on both teams, but C-Mac has proven it, and I do like Darnold going there, to Bo's point, just because I feel like Darnold, if he sees ghost, C-Mac will be there for him to drop the ball off to, and they're going to run that offense through C-Mac.
He's just been so dominant, man. That he had a year and a half of just pure dominance, and then he came back last year. What did he have, like 2 or 3 games before he got hurt? Mm-hmm. And he was averaging like 35 points a game.
Yeah.
So I sent this out in the group text with C-Mac. The other everybody talks about the usage on Derrick Henry. He's had 1,200 over almost 1,300 touches in 3 or 3.5 years.
McCaffrey?
Yeah, which is 350 more than Derrick Henry.
And receptions and runs,
it's still contact. Contact is contact. Yes, it is.
Yeah, touches count. That's opportunity.
Contact
It's the name of the game.
So he's getting wore down. Derrick Henry's had no injuries. C-Mac's had injuries.
That's what scares me about Derrick Henry.
Saquon's
He's so clean.
Yeah, but you can't assume it's going to happen. I mean, I'm just saying, if we're to use the same criteria, I mean,
McCaffrey played 3 games and was 53rd in PPR.
I'm just saying. So if you're in Dynasty, you have to start taking that into consideration. Mm-hmm. This
is not Dynasty, though.
How old do you think McCaffrey is?
Ranking
25.
He's 24, 25.
He's 24, and he's played 4 years. Now, I agree with Ken in the whole usage aspect of it, but, I mean,
Do you not make your rank? Sorry, but go ahead.
No, that was it.
Do you not make your rankings with the assumption that they're going to stay healthy?
No. The NFL, they can't assume any health. You have to assume some kind of injury in there.
I don't believe that when making rankings.
Why?
I agree.
It's a reality. It's not. It's the NFL's reality of 12 games.
If anybody can get hurt, then what's the point of making rankings?
It's the same concept that
Every
teams
single
don't care
player-
who they draft.
All 36 people I have ranked could get hurt tomorrow.
Whenever I put anything out, it's always a variable.
And I just don't believe that. I think you make the rankings with the assumption that everyone's playing the same amount.
So when you draft, you just assume they're never going to get hurt.
No, that's different.
Well, look at the
That's
NFL,
completely
for
different.
example.
But you draft off rankings, right?
No.
Okay.
Look at the NFL draft, for example. Jalen Phillips. I mean, he had back problems his entire college career, and he was still, late first, early second round pick?
No, he was actually a mid. I think he was picked, 18th?
Miami 18, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about, especially for Dynasty, but I think when you're talking about the caliber of player that Christian McCaffrey is, I don't think it can impact that much, especially because, like Richie pointed out, they're going to run that team through him, so his usage is so much higher than anybody else's.
Okay.
But I don't fault you, Ken, for having Cook second because, I
have Cook first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because I'm saying I could have Cook first, too. And
It is very close in redraft.
Yeah.
100%.
But just C-Mac's usage and the way that he is given the ball out of the backfield by carries, targets, it's just his usage is insane. And until last year, he never really had injuries. And Cook has had an injury history. So that's kind of why I separated the two.
That's a good point, too. Dalvin Cook has had his fair share of injuries.
Said one.
I removed the S from that word now.
He started with 4 games in 17, 11 and 18, and then he's played 14 the last 2 years.
But to kind of top this one on and move on, I think if you're in Dynasty or redraft and you end up with Christian McCaffrey or Dalvin Cook, you're not mad.
No, not at all.
Nope.
I'm pissed.
I'm
looking for your rankings that you sent in the text. Because you sent us a text instead of a picture.
You mean a picture instead of a text?
So why do you have... In your Dynasty rankings, you have C-Mac 1.
Because I forgot what...
He's not even in here.
I know, I forgot him.
Where would he be in your Dynasty
He would
rankings?
be second.
Okay. And
No, actually, no, he would... No, I'm sorry. I take that back. He'd probably be fourth or fifth.
And why?
Just because he's older.
Who's 4th or 5th?
Cook in Dynasty. Just for age issue.
Hold on.
I think
I'm
he's
being
25 or
I'm being
26.
stat man right now. He's a year older than McCaffrey
A lot less usage, though.
because of injury.
Well, just one. But he came a full recovery. There's no...
So your argument is there's quite a bit more tread left on the tires compared to McCaffrey.
Well, I just think it's going to add up over time. It's not necessarily right this point.
But it will.
It will.
Dalvin Cook will be 26 before the season starts.
Anyways, moving on to our consensus number 3, we got Alvin Kamara.
Yep, that's where I had him. I had him at 3.
Yep. Ken was the highest on him.
I had him at 4.
I had him at 5.
You had him at 3?
I did have him at 3.
I had him at 3 too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I had him.
We're on fire this episode, guys.
Yeah, I just think that he's going to get 100 targets. I don't think there's any issue.
Are you sure?
I think in the middle of the year last year,
Nothing's proven.
he's gonna come over.
Oh, it's been
he's gonna
proven.
Climb over the table.
It's still the same offense, just different quarterback.
I agree. I think earlier in mid-season when they had to start Taysom Hill, I just think they were trying to get through until Drew Brees came back, and they played a bunch of bad teams during that stretch, so they didn't really have to show the full offense. They just had to do enough to win. And I going into next year, they're definitely still going to use Kamara as if Drew Brees was a quarterback. And I think it doesn't really matter if it's Hill or Winston.
I mean, Alvin Kamara is going to get his regardless. I don't disagree with that, but I think Taysom Hill takes away from it a little bit more than Jameis Winston does. But regardless, I had him 5th. I think he's still a top 5 running back. I mean, what you see is what you get with Alvin Kamara. I don't think it's going anywhere.
How did Jameis provide for his running backs in Tampa?
Don't know. Didn't do the research. I couldn't even tell you who his running back.
I was going to say name a running back Jameis Winston had.
Peyton Barber.
Wow.
Fire.
Fire.
I don't know.
He had Ronald Jones for a year, didn't he?
I have no idea. I can't even speak on it.
Ronald Jones had 40 targets in 2019.
The thing that's crazy to me is if you go to Jameis Winston on Sleeper and you go to history and you look at his stats, it was literally just mediocre, terrible, fourth in PPR, like 5,000 yards.
Well, I think that was
30 touchdowns.
Yeah, he didn't throw to his running back. Peyton Barber had 24 targets in 19.
That could have something to do with the caliber of those running backs too. So
Definitely.
And also the offense. I mean, Bruce Arians isn't throwing to his running
I don't even
backs.
think Bruce Arians was there.
wasn't there.
No, he was only there Jameis's last year. So, which is when he put up all the numbers.
It was. Yep, that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who the running back was. What? Oh. I don't know who the running back was at the that last year Jameis threw for what 35 touchdowns and 35 interceptions or whatever.
30 and 30.
Yeah, I don't know who the running back was, but it's nothing that I can remember.
It's no Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Not even close.
But it's still Sean Payton, still the same offense. That doesn't mean he's going to execute it the same way, but still, the reads are the same. The progressions are the same. So we'll see what happens.
I think if it is Jameis Winston, his progression is obviously going to matter a lot for Alvin Kamara's season.
Why are you sold he's getting 100 catches?
I said 100 targets. I don't know how many catches he's going to
He's catching all 100 is what he's saying.
I mean, I don't know what he's averaged in his career, but it's got to be close to 80.
80 catches.
He's had like
year.
81 catches every year.
He had like 83 this year or something.
It surprised me to see that has never been a 1,000 yard running back. That's crazy.
Doesn't need to be.
I mean, the all-purpose usage is crazy,
He
but
very rarely runs between the tackles. Very rarely.
he still ends up with like 800 to 900 yards, but still.
I wonder what the difference was, or a difference would have been in his final season ranking if he wouldn't have had that 6 touchdown game at the end of the year.
I don't know that I would have changed it. I think that's just one of those games.
No. I'm saying as far as his fantasy.
Oh, you mean at the end of the year?
Yeah. Like if he would have just had 1 or 2 touchdowns like a normal person.
That's one of the things that Ken has always told me for making rankings that kind of helps you avoid boom or bust is you remove their best and worst game from their previous season and stat them out that way.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's Alvin Kamara at 3. And Bo, I'll let you lead this one off because you've recently said you're the most excited for this comeback. Number 4 is Saquon Barkley.
Before just stat man, but if you take away 4 of those touchdowns, he still finishes as RB1.
Okay.
He had,
was just
he had I think
curiosity.
43 more points than Cook.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Damn. Yeah, I'm just excited to see if he returns to form because if he does, he's the most dynamic.
Saquon?
Yeah. If he does, he's should be the top pick, but I guess
I'm just not a huge
took
fan.
into consideration the injury.
I've never been a huge fan of Saquon.
That's
Just
crazy to me.
personally.
That's crazy.
I think
to
he's
me.
on a trash team, so I've never been a big fan of.
You won't say that to his
Sure, I will.
thighs.
As much of a meme as I think Dave Gettleman is, I really they're making okay moves for that team.
Yeah, I liked what he did this offseason.
Quarterback league. If he doesn't do it this year, it's going to put him back another 5 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, there's not a lot of great quarterbacks coming. So if Daniel Jones don't get it done this year, it's going to put that organization back.
I think the absolute only quarterback I've heard any chirps
years.
of is that kid in Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's all right.
Spencer?
Rattler.
Rattler.
Spencer?
I had Saquon 5. I mean, I'm
He
again
did.
You got the North Carolina quarterback. I can't remember his name.
Sam Howell.
Wow.
I had Saquon at 4.
Yeah, I had him at 5.
I had him at 4.
USC got one too.
I think he'll be fine, but again, just
Of all the injuries, an ACL tear is a tough one to see someone come back from.
And his was blatant.
it was bad. And again, he was second in touches up to that point.
Game, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which-
he had
Behind
like,
McCaffrey.
he had like 40 touches game 1 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
up
God.
to
40
so-
touches and 4 yards.
I know.
That was
I'm just saying. So
Even stuff.
So
I
these
remember.
guys are like the poster children of why running backs only last 5 or 6 years in the NFL. So they just run them in the ground, and hopefully these guys will be around for a while because they're fun to watch. But I wish Saquon was on a different team. I think it'd be better for me.
Same.
Any other team?
Most other teams, not any other team, but most. Can you imagine Saquon maybe in Buffalo or something? I mean, you just never know. I mean, what could he be? I mean, he's going to run. I don't know if Devin Singletary's averaging 4.5 yards a carry.
Did they pick up his 5th-year option?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, as they should, obviously. But.
He's not going. He'll stay a Giant for a while.
Saquon?
Yeah, he's never going anywhere else. He's going to retire a Giant.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think he will.
Because
I don't want him to.
But he's only going to get one more contract probably. Mm-hmm. So
you got him in a couple of leagues, Richie. How you like him?
I like the bounce back for sure. They upgraded their offensive line a little bit. They upgraded the weapons on the outside. Should take more people out of the box. You know, the last few years after Odell left, you know, they had Sterling Shepard,
Golden Tate,
and
Big
Darius
play
Slayton on the outside. They didn't have Kenny Galladay. They didn't have Kadarius Toney.
That was the point I wanted to make to you because I know you're a fan. Is all these receivers that they're bringing in? What's that do to them?
I don't think it affects them very much at all. I mean, we all know Daniel Jones as the athletic quarterback who can run 80 yards and trip over his own feet at the 4, but he's gonna dump it off to Barkley. This same.
I would have won that week, by the way. I lost because he didn't score.
That's funny.
Like dead ass.
so sad.
But they're gonna feed the ball to Barkley. That as much weapons as they have on the outside, they're gonna make sure that they're getting Barkley the ball.
It's the same thing with CMC. They're going to run the team through him.
I agree. I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, the offensive line was upgraded, and I think that Barkley will bounce back. He may not have as much usage because I think they're going to be kind of weary of how they use him so that he's not getting hurt again. But if they do that, then they're not going to utilize him to his full ability.
Did they upgrade the O-line?
I mean, they got Andrew Thomas last year.
I don't know.
They found replacements. I wouldn't call them upgrades.
Andrew Thomas I think he's rated out as one of the worst.
Yeah, he didn't play well.
I don't know that they upgraded. They brought in Toney 1st round. They drafted Ojulari 2nd round. I don't remember them getting any free agents.
But before we move on, I just wanted to say that I think Toney and Galladay hurt Saquon's PPR usage for sure.
PPR.
Yeah, I don't. If I'm a defensive coordinator and Saquon's healthy, he's number one priority. I don't care. I'm still stacking the box until Daniel Jones beats me. I'm sorry. If I'm a defensive coordinator and he's healthy, there's no way I'm not putting 8 guys in the box. I don't care if Kenny Galladay's out there. I don't care who's out there.
I think that's the biggest reason why GMs and coaches, whoever the hell makes a decision like the one the Bengals made, surprises me. Because if you've got someone, you got to think, not only did Joe Burrow just set a prime example of why you need an offensive line, but you got Joe Mixon right there behind him, who, if you have a line, could be a top 10 running back.
I agree.
And just re-signed.
Right. And they draft a wide receiver just because it's the sexy pick. I mean, that to me just absolutely astounds me.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yep.
Moving on to number 5, our consensus was Derrick Henry.
Ooh, I like him. I like his team.
I actually had Derrick number 4 in redraft.
I think I was the highest on Derrick Henry for redraft. I had him at 3, and it's just strictly because of his touches. I mean,
it's volume.
They're going to continue to beat the brakes off of this guy until he's dead.
Yep, it's volume.
He had 300 and was it 80 plus carries last year? 385, I think.
I can remember talking to Richie on the phone and him saying, "I'm trying to trade Derrick Henry." I'm like, why? He's going to carry the ball 380 times and he's not going to get negative yards.
I won the championship though.
It wasn't because of that, but
it wasn't.
It was because of that 6 touchdown game.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, piece of shit.
And Lamar Jackson going to the locker room.
Oh yeah,
for sure that was.
That's the exact reason why I beat Kim by 4 points that week.
Yeah, he won because Lamar had to take a poop.
I almost shit myself.
I'm gonna predict that he at least goes another 3 years with this usage.
So just because he gets the
It's on
usage,
tape.
do you think he still puts out the production with it? Just because he's getting,
he's not getting 2,000 yards, but he's going to stay in between 13 and 1,500.
Damn. God,
So
I hope so.
that's why
I'm putting it on tape. It's at least 3 more years of it.
what we said about
heavy.
PPR production for Saquon and Alvin Kamara is exactly why I put Derrick Henry above both of them, because I think that volume overpowers the situations that Saquon and Kamara are coming to next season.
How many years do you think he's had that kind of usage?
3.
It's only been 2, really.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, it's only been 2.
He had 110 his rookie year, 176, 215, and then 303 and 378.
He got lucky. He got to play behind, what's his name from Dallas?
DeMarco
Murray. So he didn't take the wear and tear his first 2.5 years of his career. So,
I mean, does it matter like the wear and tear that he's not getting the?
Y'all remember Bishop Sankey?
yes, from Washington. Yeah,
He went to Wadsworth.
yeah, Washington.
I'm actually surprised to see that Bo was the lowest.
I know.
Bo was the lowest on Derrick Henry by a lot.
I'm on tape saying that I think he takes a step back. I mean,
A step back, though, he's still going to be top 5.
okay, well,
Bo has him at 8.
in rushing yards, and because of that, if you notice, every single person above him that I have in my rankings is a receiving threat.
That's the only thing Derrick Henry does not do. If he could catch, he can catch the ball. If he was involved,
How many points did he have last year? In just fantasy points.
he had to
344.
Be, yeah,
344. So if he gets 1,400 yards, that's 140 points. Say he gets 8 touchdowns. That's a disappointment, I would say. But say he gets 8 touchdowns, that's another 40 points. That's not even 200 points. A step back for him is diminishing in fantasy.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is a PPR threat, but he's not. He's not Alvin Kamara.
He's not at all. What's the most receptions he's had in his career?
19 this year.
I was on my way to saying he's not a Saquon Barkley or an Alvin Kamara, but he can catch the ball.
He very rarely gets it to 20. I don't even know if he's ever had 20.
He had like 30 targets this year.
I almost had 30 targets this year.
Yeah. I don't disagree with your take. I think when your team relies on a run game like theirs, if he takes a step down, I definitely don't disagree with
him
you.
not catching the ball is smart. That's just less.
Yep.
It's just,
That's my point. Was do you
usage.
think him not being targeted in the receiving game is because he is so well? He's used so much in the run game.
There's no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason.
I wonder what makes that work. Like, if that works so well for the Titans and Derrick Henry specifically, why isn't that where the NFL is headed? Because it seems to be like they're going more for these Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, PPR type guys.
A lot of those.
Same reason the Bengals took Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Fill the seats.
Fill the seats. I just think there's a lot of specialty guys. That's the league. There's not many Derrick Henrys. There's a lot of.
There's 0 Derrick.
Yeah.
Well, there's 1 Derrick.
There's a lot of
Nick Chubb, I'd
the
argue.
other guy. I mean, Nick Chubb's probably the closest thing I can
Zeke.
think of.
Yeah, true.
I know
young
Zeke is a
Young Zeke.
receiving
PPR.
force, but I'm just saying as far as a running back,
I think the Browns kind of took the best approach in the fact of trying to save Nick Chubb by signing Kareem Hunt and using Kareem Hunt as more of like a 50-50, 60-40. So that way if they re-sign Nick Chubb.
I think they lucked out big time because I think their approach was no one else is going to sign this guy. Let's take a chance.
Yep. And it worked because now if they let Kareem Hunt walk in 2 years, they have Nick Chubb for another 4 or 5, which his usage hasn't been that high.
We gotta
Let's
stay
talk
on
about
track.
Derrick Henry. No, I got one more thing. I think kind of to the effect of having a backup in a sense. I don't want to call Kareem Hunt a backup. I was trying to find a better word for him. A Robin to the Batman.
He's a finisher.
A Robin to the Batman. I'm not saying this guy is Derrick Henry's Robin, but them bringing in Brian Hill isn't just like, oh, let's just sign a guy off the street to back him up like they've had for the last 3 years. I mean, they brought in a competent guy that can come in and take carries from him.
Didn't he
like
play for
Brian Hill.
Atlanta?
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't mind the
Brian
guy
Hill's a
that
stud.
I didn't mind the guy that backed up Derrick Henry last year. I thought he was a solid player.
Who, the McNichols?
Yeah, I thought he
Jeremy
was a solid.
McNichols?
Yeah, I thought he was a solid player.
I mean, they picked him up off the street to back him up.
I mean,
Literally.
378 carries.
he didn't play bad though. When I watched, he played well.
They signed Deion Lewis 3 years ago to a 4 or 5 year deal, and they were like, "Yeah, this is not gonna. This ain't happening."
Okay, who's next on the list?
Number 6 is Nick Chubb.
Now go ahead on your Nick Chubb tangent.
I actually had him at the lowest, I think.
Yeah, Richie was the lowest on Nick Chubb by a lot.
Yeah, I had him at 9.
I had him at 7.
I had him 7.
So I guess I lied by a lot.
I had him the highest at 6.
The reason I didn't,
What did he finish?
6.
6.
I didn't have him at 6 any higher.
He missed 3 games.
Not only that, but they just
4.
go away from him. That's if you watch.
There's games where they're feed.
18
It's just like, oh, we had him on the team.
18 carries, 17 carries, 21 carries, 13 carries.
And that's kind of the price you pay when you have
Kareem Hunt.
not only the receivers that they have, which they obviously didn't have Odell, but Chubb missed 4 games, but you got Kareem Hunt on your team.
And what sucks is Chubb can catch the shit out of the ball.
And
And
they just don't use him that way. And that's the only reason he'd probably be in my top 4 if he had more volume. That honestly.
Oh yeah, he's up. He's not up there with C-Mac, Kamara, or Barkley, but he's probably 4.
He could be the RB1 if he had volume.
I agree.
I love that he's got the Barry Sanders personality of just staying quiet.
He don't say a word.
Throws the ball to the ref.
Yep.
When he
All
does,
business.
When he doesn't wear gloves, bruh.
All business.
That's my guy.
All business.
He's got his knuckles loose.
Hard.
I got a Chubb.
Hard knocks. It showed what kind of person he was.
When he's standing in the airport, like
no one knows who he is.
yeah,
He just
I got drafted by the Browns.
yeah.
Oh, did you? What about Baker?
Every year Nick Chubb climbs up there higher and higher, being one of my favorite players in the league. He's such
so
a well-rounded guy and a
So
great
likable.
player.
What the? I think my ceiling's caving in.
Moving on to number 7 is somebody that I think I'm going to have to readdress my rankings because I have him way too low. It is Aaron Jones.
I have Aaron Jones at 6.
So do I.
I have him at 12 on here.
Ooh.
Wow.
And that was probably from a lack of research.
So
I got him at 10.
Was that a prisoner of the moment with the whole Rodgers thing?
It was really just I was kind of going down the list of finishers from guys from last year and what they did in the draft, like things that they addressed, moves that they made, and I just kind of got 11 people higher than Aaron Jones that I thought made sense for redraft. But now that I'm going back and looking at Jamal Williams leaving, the potential even whether Aaron Rodgers is there or not,
Bro, I'm not even that close to the camera.
You're almost off camera.
Aaron Jones is going to get his. So I think I would definitely have him in my top 8 if I remade this list right now.
Yeah, I have him at 6 just because of the receiving aspect. He's definitely a PPR, and he scores a lot of touchdowns. So I don't know what he had last year, but I don't know if Richie's got it pulled up, but
No, a trade just went through, so that's what I was distracted on.
yeah, I think Aaron Jones. Obviously, if Aaron Rodgers leaves, I don't know that it matters that much. They're still gonna have to feed him the ball. He might even get more usage if Aaron Rodgers leaves.
That's what I was going to say. I think it helps him if Aaron Rodgers leaves because Love's going to be running for his
But
life.
they also stack the box on him if Aaron Rodgers leaves.
Yeah,
so
he-
there's a little bit of both.
He becomes even more of a PPR threat if that's
Correct.
He had 8 less touchdowns.
Yeah, he had to. Well, that's because but he still had double digits, didn't he?
No. Well, total.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He still had double digits. So
He's very touchdown dependent, but he always
he had
gets them.
20 touchdowns 2 years ago. I think you have to take a step back from 20. You can never. But as you're still getting double digit touchdowns, that's big time. How many catches did he have? 50?
No, we remember we were looking at it side by side with Gaskin.
47.
It's 40,
47.
Yeah.
I
Gaskin
said
at
50. Yeah. Okay. I mean that's why I have him 6. I have him just a hair ahead of Chubb just because of the catching.
I got him at 10. I just slid him in there.
He's one of those guys, not as a player, but as a fantasy asset, he reminds me a lot of Mark Ingram, where he's highly disrespected every year and still comes out and just gets his.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. I know.
Didn't he have some issues
That's a
couple years
weird
ago?
comp, but I get it though.
Who?
Aaron Jones did like 2 or 3 years ago. Wasn't he suspended for the first couple of games? Didn't he have something going on?
I don't know.
That sounds familiar.
I feel like 3
Isn't that like
years.
assault or
I
something?
feel like 3 years ago there was a reason like people were avoiding him in drafts.
He only played 12 games in 18 and 17.
Yeah, 4 games. All right.
I
don't remember
could
why,
definitely be
but you're
tripping,
right.
but I just remember some sort of crap narrative against him.
Right.
Yeah, the takeaway here is don't sleep on Aaron Jones.
And I also think Jamal Williams leaving might hurt him because I know they're super close.
Mm-hmm.
So
Good.
He'll probably have Jalen Waddle write him a thank you card.
Oh boy.
I heard Thick Boy is pretty good at thank you notes.
Number 8, which this one I like a lot, Austin Eckler.
That's where I had him 8.
Bo had him the highest at 5.
Yeah, and I had him at 3, and I'm like I can't have him this high.
I think it's a interesting take.
He has just as much as Chris McCaffrey has like he might have the second best chance of being overall RB1.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
He came back because at the beginning of the season before he got hurt, Herbert wasn't playing. I think he played a game or two with Herbert. Just Herbert obviously getting acclimated. When he came back after his injury and Herbert had almost a season full of playing time, dude, he was averaging like 15 targets a game.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year,
he's going to be a wide receiver 1.
The question marks around him were Tyrod Taylor at the beginning of this past season. And, even whenever Justin Herbert made that transition over to starting, it was, okay, I still got to get acclimated with this guy. And then he got hurt. So if he can come back, stay healthy for a full season, and have that full trust in Justin Herbert, I agree he could easily be a top 3 running back.
You guys are going to think I'm crazy, but the reason I have him at 8 is because I think Justin Herbert's going to take a step back.
That wouldn't surprise me.
You're tripping. He's like, you talking about my dog, bro?
I had
He's a pit bull.
I actually had Eckler the lowest, right? I had him at 15.
15.
Oh, by a lot.
You've been drinking, bro.
It's just I started putting everybody together, and because they're still getting another back to try and take carries away from Eckler.
Who?
Well, it doesn't matter who it is.
Who?
They drafted another running back.
Who?
They still have Justin Jackson and
Green
Joshua
Bay drafted
Kelly,
a
right?
running back. What's it matter?
They drafted a running back in the 7th round.
The Giants drafted a running back in the 6th.
Yeah, but they spent a higher pick on Roundtree.
I think the Chargers.
Was a 5th rounder?
There's still a pick.
I think the Chargers took a running back to address their backup running back spot. I don't think it will at all
Carolina
affect
took
Eckler.
a running back.
He's not going to get the workload that C-Mac is. He's not going to get the workload that Cook is.
Yes, he is the point. If
I
he
think he
stays
will, too.
if he stays healthy, he's getting Kamara numbers.
He can. I don't see him getting the workload.
Look at his first year he came in. I bet those numbers are pretty close to a Kamara year.
He single-handedly ran Melvin Gordon out of town.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Single-handedly said, "This is my job. Sorry, but you got to go."
Plus, look at the dude.
How many rushing attempts do you think he had in 2019?
It's going to be the PPR.
160.
Well, yeah, I was going to say 170.
It's going to be the receptions that matter.
130.
For him.
Yep,
He had.
That's when Gordon was there, though.
He had 108 targets and 92 receptions.
That's
He
insane.
had 108 targets. As
He had
RB2.
92 fantasy points.
He wasn't
just
even
for
the
catching
starter.
the ball.
He wasn't even the starter in 2019.
Now, to your guys' point, which I can understand, in 2020, but he played 10 games in 2020, and he still only averaged 16 carries a game.
His ranking isn't based on carries.
Yeah, 16 carries for someone that's a PPR threat is not horrible.
We just got done saying Kamara has never rushed for 1,000 yards, but you got him at 3.
And then,
Hold on, take that in. Don't skip what Bo just said.
and then,
Justify that. Justify what Bo just said.
what'd you say?
He said Kamara never rushed for 1,000 yards, but you have him at 3.
What's the difference of that? And Kamara's getting more rushing attempts.
Because it always came down to touchdowns for Kamara.
Okay.
And Eckler's not scoring touchdowns.
We just got done saying that touchdown dependency is something that you want to stay away from.
Yeah, of course. But he's now you guys got me all baffled.
Good.
I'm trying to find stats now.
You're trying to stand on a hill that's a needle point.
Just make your point for your guy. You don't need stats for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any way you can. Eckler and Kamara are basically the same guy in the same offense, basically. I mean, you might not get.
Kamara's a better runner. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
But they have the same role.
Yeah.
They have the exact same role.
And Kamara has a better backup. a lot better backup.
I guess my point is Kamara's done it for 4 years. I just got to see Eckler do it by himself.
Here's what I'm going to say. If you see a running back drafted in the 6th or 7th round, it's not to be a running back in the NFL. It's to be a special teams player. Mm-hmm. It's a proven fact.
How old is Eckler? What you have it at?
26 or 27.
He's a little older. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the same age as Kamara, or is he a year older?
He's older.
Kamara's 26 too, I think. He's 25.
It's
actually.
close. It's
All right,
close.
so just a quick question. Say Austin Eckler finishes as the running back 3, Kamara the running back 5.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in a draft next year. Doesn't matter what pick you're at, but you're faced with Kamara and Eckler. Who are you taking? Redraft.
I'm taking Eckler. Just because of the quarterback.
Depends on the year that Herbert has.
Yeah, it just
literally
depends on the quarterback, really.
Okay. I was just trying to put it into perspective how big of a difference Eckler
There's some other
proving
things.
you right.
There's some other variables here
Would mean
too.
for Kamara.
There's some other variables.
I have them back to back in my rankings.
I know this. People don't. We're really digging down deep, but you have Sean
Good.
Payton. We have Sean Payton as a head coach, and you have a guy
Brand new coach.
that's never coached in the NFL. So as far as a head coach, so that could be
What?
I see your gears turning.
that could be.
I'm because
Sorry.
Sorry, Ken, not to cut you. I agree. I think I do have Eckler low. He's definitely top 10. And
Halfway there, baby.
yeah, when I did this, like I said, I have a bunch of those rookies from last year above Eckler, and
It's hard not to put Dynasty into it.
Yeah, and I probably should
It's
have
super
Eckler, 7, 8 above Gibson, Akers, Swift, above those guys.
Boy, don't you disrespect Gibson like that.
But you see, I didn't say JT.
When Bo texted me for my rankings the first time, I had DeAndre Swift in my top 7.
Yeah, Ken was talking. I'm sorry, Ken.
No, I just to go back to Ben's question. If Eckler's 3 and Kamara's 5, and you're going to draft him the next year, I want to see how the coach handled. I mean, there's a lot of variables.
There's a new coach,
but
and you're right.
but that's a win-win. I don't care which one you get.
Yeah.
I think a new
that's
coach
a
helps
win-win.
a player like Eckler
Sometimes.
because they're like, man, we're gonna have to lean on you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean,
It's how Eckler performs with the new coach, with Herbert. It depends on how Kamara does with whether it's Hill or
and
Winston.
it drives Bo crazy. But I took Eckler's injury into account when I ranked him. I mean, that's why he's 8 for me. So, I mean, he's
Also
got
8
That's
for
okay.
me.
He's got to prove he can stay healthy. He is a ball of muscle. I don't know if you've ever seen that dude
Yeah,
with
he's
the
a
shirt
wrecking
off.
ball.
He has no body fat. When you have no body fat like that, there's a lot of pulled muscles. There's a lot of stuff that happens to you. Shit don't bend when your shit's that tight. It don't bend. So,
He's a bowling ball.
so that's the part of why I have him at 8.
And you guys know that I'm historically not a fan of Eckler
At all.
but in a redraft,
Yeah,
I think
especially this year with the expected, and I know you said Herbert takes a step back, but with the
Possibly,
expected year 2 jump of Herbert, give me every piece of Eckler.
when quarterbacks digress, it's usually year 2.
Every
And then
non-fat piece.
it's usually year 2 that the digression starts, and then they pick it back up year 3 because the NFL adjusts big time.
He's that guy that if I have pick 6 in a snake draft and it's coming back around and I got, so that would be 12, 18. If I got 18th overall and Eckler's falling to me, I'm creaming.
Jumping up and down.
I'm creaming.
Yep.
I'm trying to convince the other people, you should pick, hey, take this guy, take this guy, take this guy.
Yep.
all things considered, I think Eckler he feels the most comfortably ranked at number 8.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think that's perfect.
That's fine.
With the potential, like he said, to shoot up to top 3
Right.
with no problem.
Moving on, number 9, we have Zeke.
Yep, that's where I have him as 9. I think that's, but I've made it known how I feel.
Yeah, well, I poo-pooed on you because you were, when we did the NFC East show, you were like, yeah, he's going to go for 1,500 yards, 12 tutties. We're like, bro, that's RB1 overall. And you got him at 9. I'm like, there's a little bit of a...
There's a difference there. I think he's going to have a big year. I think I might have got a little bit crazy with my
rankings? Or your projections?
His projections. So, but I think he's got 1 or 2 real big ones left in him. 1 for sure. But he's definitely on the downward side. That's my opinion.
Zeke, I will say that Zeke is and has been my favorite player, but being as unbiased as possible, I think it's completely laughable how disrespected he's been after the past season that team had. Keep in mind, at least half their offensive line was injured. The quarterback that made that team what it was down after what was that, week 3? And he still finished as the running back 9.
I agree.
Zeke has never been a threat to be a top 3 running back that's a game changer like the top 3 that we have are. He's always been middle of the pack, 5 at best. You know what you're going to get with Zeke. He's going to put up 15 to 25 every single game, and that's what it is. And he still did that minus maybe 5-6 games this season. To do that with no line is pretty crazy. I think he comes back. He, along with Eckler, is capable of top 3, top 2, even a first-place finish.
Yep.
There's my hot take.
I don't know that that's a hot take. I think
Who did Dak get injured against?
it was like the 4th game of the
Was
season.
it the Giants?
Giants. Yep.
So it was right after the Browns game. I mean, the first 4 games that he had with with Dak, I mean,
He's
27, 20, 17, and then the Browns game was 19, and that was with the Browns leading by 20 or so.
We were talking about how Mixon was on pace to break records. Zeke was doing better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still continued to I shouldn't say ball out. He still continued to play bad, but he was getting I'm going to keep saying poo-pooed. He was getting poo-pooed on because they just weren't doing anything juicy.
Oh, yeah. The narrative was, Zeke's getting old.
Well,
he's
he
getting worn
finished 6th.
down. Yeah. I mean, with Andy Dalton for 10 games.
Zeke's style is old school, and it's going to catch up with him eventually.
I don't disagree with you. I also agree with your take. Sorry about that. If he's going to have a big year, it'll be this year.
I just had a rant on your
He does not run away from
at all.
He will look for it and find it 100% of the time.
He looks a lot. He looks a lot better this year.
And that's one thing that
he looks a lot more in shape.
Going back to Derrick Henry that's one thing that no one ever mentions about him is he's a stud up the middle. He'll truck, he'll stiff arm, but he runs out of bounds a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
He preserves himself. Zeke does not.
Yep.
And that's just he was
That's
that
a
way
really
in
good
college.
That's a really good point.
He was that way in college. He never ran. He always ran through you.
He's a hole looker. He's not a around the edge. I mean, he'll go around the edge.
You say you want me to run through this hole? Doesn't matter if someone's standing in it.
I think that
He's
plays a
going.
big part into why it was so successful for as long as it was. Because there's got to come a point, if you're a 5'10", 180-pound defensive back, one-on-one with Zeke, and you try to tackle him head on, you're getting hurt.
You're gonna take it. But so back to my redraft, I'm drafting Zeke all day long.
100%.
Dynasty, I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole. That's just.
Do you still have him as a top 12 in Dynasty?
I have him.
Do you feel your team? Do you feel your team can win it all this year in BSB?
No.
Seriously?
No.
With 2 top 5 quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm. I only have one running back.
Who's your RB1?
Eckler.
Okay, if you made a deal where you didn't have to give up any of those 3, and you got DK too, right? Mm-hmm. Any of those 4.
I have Ridley, DK, and I forget.
Tyler Boyd.
Just saying your top.
No, I traded
No,
for
I have
Boyd.
Tyler Boyd.
Your top 4 guys: Eckler, your 2 quarterbacks, and DK. If you could make a deal to get Zeke and not give up any of those guys, you wouldn't do it. To put you over the top
Thielen.
this year, you do that.
No, I'm saying in a startup. I wouldn't. If
Bo's
we're
point is you
starting
said you wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
in a startup.
I was calling you out on the dynasty.
In a startup. If it's in to win like this year, yeah, for sure. But I'm not. If in a startup dynasty, I'm not touching him.
Sure.
That's
I'd
what
agree
I'm
with
saying.
that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not. He's just on that edge for me.
And I will mention, because I've been watching a lot of dynasty mock drafts, and Zeke is falling to late.
Oh, you'll write that guy.
Zeke is falling to the late 3rd rounds in super flex drafts.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's. I just that's just my opinion. That's just me. Personally.
I'll take
I
Zeke
love
at the late 3rd round all day.
I mean, in redrafts, Zeke's probably going to fall late 1st round, early 2nd round.
He'll be a second. He'll be a second rounder.
He'll be early first for sure.
The points that receivers put up last year in redraft drafts
starting
this
to matter.
year, quarter or running or Jesus Christ,
especially with an added game.
receivers will go in the
Like,
first round.
if I
Justin
have the-
Jefferson's a first round pick this year.
If I have the
And it's
9th pick,
gonna be, but
if I have the 9th pick in redraft, and I'm getting what is that, the 4th or 5th pick in the 2nd round, and Zeke's there, and I get, I don't know,
Zeke and Eckler,
sign me up.
Exactly.
And redraft.
he might be gone.
He's
Not
probably
at 9. Not at 9.
No,
I'm
not
telling
nine.
you,
In redraft, no.
redraft.
there's
Oh,
hype.
yeah.
There's hype, bro. There's hype.
Yeah, there's hype.
There's
Yeah.
hype.
I know, but not.
Yeah.
I don't.
Especially with Wentz there's hype.
He's going to be taking 6, 7.
Them re-signing Marlon Mack really turned me off of Jonathan Taylor.
I don't think
But
that
anyways,
means
we got to
next?
keep this. We got 3 left. Finish strong here.
Is Jonathan Taylor next? And if you would have screwed up that transition with Taylor next.
No, number 10 is Antonio Gibson.
Where's he at, boy?
Run that back, Turbo.
Antonio Gibson.
My dog.
You know how we never interrupt that drop? Like, we always just let it play. Nobody's ever talking during that drop.
The second time Bo asked me for my rankings, I said, you guess who I got at 10, and I'll send them to you. And he said Antonio Gibson, and I was like, "No, man, you think I got him that low?" But I do have him at 10. I lied right to his face.
I have him at 11.
I didn't even pay attention to that.
I have him at 11.
I have him at 8.
In redraft, he's not as.
How is he above Jonathan Taylor? Jonathan Taylor is above Antonio Gibson in 3 of our 4.
I don't even have Jonathan Taylor in my top 12.
You got me, okay.
Yeah, Ken
You
has
got
him
me
at 13.
Okay, no,
You
he's
have him
2
at
of
12.
us.
I
Yeah,
have him
okay.
at 9.
Okay, I'll shut up. He's next, though.
Richie has him lower than all
Let's
of
talk
us.
about AG, bro.
Who?
It's my dog.
In redraft?
Gibson?
No,
Gibson.
JT.
Hey,
No, I have JT
hey, how about
at
Gibson?
7.
Gibson.
Oh, I
How about
switched
Gibson?
him and yeah.
How about Gibson? How about Gibson?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Bo.
I had an argument at work today.
Uh-huh.
Is Antonio Italian or Spanish?
It's Italian.
Italian.
It's Spanish, man.
It's Italian.
It's Italian.
It's Spanish.
It could.
Tell that to
They're
Antonio
really close,
Banderas,
though.
bro.
They're really close. The languages are related. All right.
That's a true story, by the way, guys.
Go ahead. Talk to us about
my
your
dog.
man crush.
It's my dog.
Yeah, Bo has 2 of those at the running back position.
This is my dog. Go ahead and talk about him.
Go ahead, talk about him.
I mean, I have him at 11. I don't have him at 10. I have him at 11. But
I had him at 8 because Fitzpatrick going there, it was probably the best thing that could happen to Antonio Gibson.
I agree. And you add Curtis Samuel
You
for
add
the
Curtis
mix.
Samuel. You add, I even like Deami Brown, the guy that they got out of North Carolina. You still got F1, Terry McLaurin.
So why so high if you like all those guys?
Because it opens it up more for him. It gives the defense more to worry about.
But they've proven they're not going to throw him the ball.
That doesn't matter if he's getting volume.
Nothing gets proven in 1 year.
No, but they show that. I mean, they throw it to McKissick. They throw it to everybody but him.
What they've proven is their throw to the running back.
But not
He
him.
just has to be on the field more.
I don't think he's going to get the
I think he
PPR
is.
play.
He's guaranteed to play more.
He can't play less than what he did last year, and he finishes a top 10 running back.
Guaranteed.
I think he's going to be a lot like Derrick Henry. He's going to play first and second down, and he's going to come out on third down.
I was about to cream in my pants. I'm like, you go two G's, bro?
I'm just saying. I think he's going to see a lot of the Derrick Henry style. He's going to come out on third down.
He's just too athletic. I mean, literally in college, he was a wide receiver.
Absolutely.
I
wonder why he only has what did he have last year? 20 catches.
I think I think Rivera was just playing the smart game with him. Like, I don't think they didn't expect to make the playoffs.
The only thing
I
that
think they were just trying to make him a running back.
McKissick had 82 catches or something.
Yeah,
like
and that
111
to piggyback
targets.
off that point, that's the thing that scares me the most about AG is the Redskins have 0 vacated running back targets and running back carries.
0.
0.
Oh, they did bring Peyton Barber back, didn't they?
Yeah, he had 44 targets and
That don't
36
mean-
catches.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't have him higher. I just don't see his role being much different than what it was last year.
I mean, I only have a spot above you.
I don't think it changes drastically, which is why I was comfortable with him at 10.
It's just my dog.
I know he is. I was just questioning Richie at 8. That's why I was asking.
Have you checked the website in a while to see if his jersey's up?
Just the one.
The cool
just the
one.
one.
To your point, McKissick had 110 targets and 80 catches.
Yeah.
There's no way he repeats that number.
I mean, you send
So
half of
that's his
those to
role.
AG and
Yes.
he's shooting up 5
I
spots.
mean, even if he cuts that in half, it's still
Even if you
really
take
good backup
30
numbers.
away, if you take 30 away, that's 80 targets and 50 receptions for
But
McKissick.
you're also adding Curtis Samuel. So I'm just saying.
Stop.
I'm just being devil's advocate. How
don't
many
care.
how many touches Samuel have last year? 100.
Yeah, we also
targets.
didn't have McCaffrey.
I'm just saying.
So he only had like 75 catches, though.
But I'm saying targets. He had 100 targets. I'm just saying.
I know you're just saying it, and stop saying.
The other variable is their defense. Their defense is going to keep them in games, and they're not going to have to throw the ball as much as they did.
I know, and that benefits him as a running back.
Yeah. And they're going to be
Running
Stop.
the ball.
they're
Running the
going to
ball.
be conservative.
He had 10 rushing touchdowns last year. Kiss my ass.
They're going to be conservative, so they're going to dump the ball off to AG, McKissick, Peyton Barber, whatever running back's on the field. And that's just how
Juan Wavela.
Ron Rivera likes it. He used C-Mac that way for 3 years.
C-Mac year 2 was fire. AG year 2.
So,
AG. 2-4.
Interesting AG talk. I was
About it.
upset. Moving on to number 11, Jonathan Taylor.
I'm sweating, bro.
I'm comfy.
JT number 11.
Bringing in Carson Wentz does a lot for
I was
them.
just going to say, is this low rank, how much does Carson Wentz affect this rank?
It definitely helps it more than it hurts it.
Seriously.
I think the best case for Jonathan Taylor is the Colts offensive line. But I sent you guys that stat the other day that said, I think it was something along the lines of there were 4 running backs who had top 4 offensive lines, and there were also 4 I think it was top 10 running backs that had bottom 4 offensive lines. So maybe the offensive line doesn't play as big of a role as we think it does, but if it does, it's in his favor.
The episode of Two Bears, One Cave that I was listening to on the way over here was them talking about the pancake robot. Did you know Quentin Nelson's nickname is the pancake robot?
Yes.
Did not.
And Bert was like, I just pictured him, no shirt, apron, and his whitey tighties, and he was making pancakes. I didn't know he was a football player. But that boy's a beast.
Yeah.
And if he don't up Jonathan Taylor in rankings, I don't know what will.
I just think there's so many running backs in that running back room that.
Yep.
Here's how I see Jonathan Taylor having a small workload at the beginning and finishing.
Just like he did last year?
Just exactly like last year, yep.
That's why I have him at 13. I don't think
he put up over 200 yards the last game of the season?
Something.
253.
Yeah. Something. But I think
8.4 carry.
I think they're going to save him a little bit. I think they're going to use Hines a lot more. I think they still have
that's
Marlon Mack.
I don't know that they
to
can
cut
use
you
Hines
off
more.
there, yeah, I was about to
They
say
have Mack.
Nyheim Hines finishes the running back 15 in PPR.
I know. They just had a lot of mouths to feed in the backfield. He's obviously the best running back on the team. But if they can have him fresh at the end,
Preserve him.
They're a playoff team.
if they can have him fresh at the end, that's what they have to shoot for.
The biggest thing for me was the Marlon Mack re-signing, because they were to the point last year where they were all the way down in the depth chart. What the hell did I just say? Depth chart.
The Jep Dart.
Hey,
To
none of us
Jordan
can
Wilkins.
talk today.
Yeah.
We're talking about bunning racks.
And Marlon Mack is twice of what Jordan Wilkins is. So if they're going to stoop that low, Marlon Mack will see playing time.
Wilkins is still there.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't shit.
I don't disagree with you, but he took
great
away
special
from
teams
Jonathan Taylor.
Marlon Mack ain't shit either.
I'm looking projection wise like 13 to 18 carries a game the first 6 to 8 games.
He can be a PPR threat too, though.
Somewhat. What do you think it goes up to? 20, 25?
22 to 28 carries.
What would help him? Because I think Mack is a running back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What would help him is if Hines goes down, Taylor's PPR numbers are going to skyrocket.
Uh-huh.
I just don't see a lot of the catches. I just don't see a lot of the PPR.
You don't see a lot of PPs?
Well, only on Fridays.
Ow.
Yeah, I think 11 honestly might even be a little high for me. But
Yeah, I have him at 13.
13 is a good spot.
You're the only one that, yeah. You got 13, I got 12. Ben's got 9.
Mm-hmm.
And Richie's got 7.
Kevin.
7.
Moving on out to the last one, we got Bo's other boyfriend, Deandre Swift, at number 12. And Jared Goff he's still going to go there and be a quarterback. I mean, Jared Goff isn't the worst quarterback in the NFL, but he's by no means, he's probably not even near the middle of the pack, if we're being honest. And the fact that they have no receivers doesn't help his case, and that really helps DeAndre Swift's case. They have so many vacated targets that are going to get scooped up by Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, but even if you split the vacated targets, which I'll tell you exactly what that number is here.
5, 4.
The Lions have 129 vacated targets to fill. So even if you split that 50-50 with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift's numbers are going to look a lot better than they did last year.
Vacated targets?
Carries, I'm sorry.
I was about to say, that's going to go to receivers.
Yeah, I meant carries.
Because of AP. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have Swift at 10. I think
You meant 9.
I think
You have him at 10. I'm drunk.
the coach singled him out in a press conference and said, "We have to get this man the ball." And when you have a coach do that, he's going to get the ball any way he can. You're 100% right on Jared Goff. Jared Goff's a really good quarterback when he has a surrounded cast. It's really good. I mean, he played in the Super Bowl. He's not
played horrible.
Yeah, he did, but he got there. That's
exactly.
hard. But he had a good surrounding cast. If they're going to build that team inside out, meaning they're going to get strong on the lines, and then they're just going to build out. And that's what they're going to do. And Swift, by next year, he'll be in the top 5.
3.
Who did they draft?
least.
Didn't they get Penei Sewell?
Yep.
Yeah,
They're building inside out.
Remember I said that they were going to draft old dude from VTech, and you were like, "Oh, their offensive line's better than Atlanta's."
I don't know shit about offensive line, so I know I didn't say that.
I said it.
Yeah.
I said it.
You guys.
I said it. But they're still going to get stronger from the inside. Defensive line, they're going to go to the San Francisco way. They're going to build the lines and then go out.
Bunch of casuals over here. I know what I'm doing.
I have Swift at 14 just because I think Jamal Williams is going to take a lot more away from him than Adrian Peterson did. Even though it wasn't Swift's role yet, it's still Jamal Williams is no scrub, and he proved that backing up Aaron Jones.
I think he's going to take catches away from him for sure. I don't know about a lot of carries.
I am so pissed at myself, man.
Why?
I didn't capitalize on saying Derrick Henry had 2 first names.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
So did Jonathan Taylor.
You can scrap this and we can start over.
Okay.
No, that's I mean, I had Cam Akers at 12, so.
Stop. We'll talk about him next time.
I'm just saying to round out my 12.
If you guys wanted to know, I was the only one that got all 12. But I was so far off on a lot of them.
Yeah.
I had 11.
Stop.
I didn't say, I'm not saying who. I said I had 11. Eckler was my one that wasn't in my 12.
Yeah, we already knew that.
But he probably should be. I could probably literally switch him with the guy that I have at 10.
All right, guys. Well, let's wrap this up.
I didn't even talk about DeAndre Swift.
Oh,
Here we
go ahead.
He's good.
He's good at football.
He went to Georgia.
He's good at football.
He's a running back.
What number did he wear at Georgia?
3.
Nope. All right.
7.
Yes. All right, guys. Let's wrap this ranking show
Why
up.
did I say 3?
If you guys have any questions, hit us on our email, thecasualsffp@gmail.com.
Why are we not doing top 5s anymore?
We do it on the Saturday.
It's a Saturday
show.
thing.
We haven't done it in like.
Well, what do you want to
4
do?
shows. I've had top 5 drinks ready for. My wife texted me and said, "You smell funny."
Wow.
Damn.
Bro, speaking about my wife, so I love her so much. For the listeners, we had that 14-team draft we had at my house. It was the first time that my wife met Ben. For some reason, I swear I've told her that we have 2 6'5" dudes on the podcast and 2 4'2" dudes on the podcast. She was like, "Man, I didn't expect Ben to be that tall. He's like 6'6". But why does he look just like you?" I'm like, "Girl, you better watch out."
That's probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said
You
to
better
me.
watch out.
He's got more hair.
She was
though.
like, he looks like a 6 foot version of you.
Oh, damn. Oh,
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh.
You guys both do wear hats
So-
all the time.
How about I saw something on Fox Sports today. I don't
hands are
remember what it was.
Thank
Top 5 athlete cameos in movies.
Ray Lewis on TMZ.
No, in a movie like Brett Favre and Something About Mary, or
Dan Marino and
Ace
Ace
Ventura.
Wouldn't mind that. Keeps it relevant.
Michael Jordan in Space Jam.
He had a role. That's not a cameo.
dog.
That's a role.
You're a roll.
Wasn't
So-
Jim Brown an actor for a little bit?
What about Patrick Mahomes in the State Farm commercial?
Drake.
Drake from State
So
Farm.
let's do that. They had some on. It was on Good Morning Football. That's what I
I
saw.
feel like
it
we're
on.
gonna have the same ones.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a lot older. I didn't some.
I seen
have
some
old
shit.
ones.
I seen some shit, bro.
I mean, Shaq's been in some.
Ooh, Shazam!
Yeah.
Shaq
So-
is awesome.
Shaq, you were gonna have Shaq in your top 5.
We'll figure that out.
He was gonna have Shaq in his top 5 characters of all time.
Yeah.
In the what was the movie?
Grown ups.
Grown-ups, yeah. All right, guys.
Such
Again, I'm gonna give
casuals.
you an email. Again, it's thecasualsffp@gmail.com.
That's been
Any
blowing up
questions? Yeah, we keep asking you guys to reach out, but we must really only have 3 listeners, and it's Ben, Richie, and Bo.
All of our
Outside of
downloads are
my-
consumed about all of the apps that I have downloaded.
But social media, we have the Casuals FFP.
That's been blowing up lately too.
No, and then YouTube, we have had some views, but it's the same for the Casuals FFP on YouTube. So Saturday we're going to do more of the fantasy. What's it called? Fantasy breakdown.
Fantasy breakdown.
We're gonna do the NFC West on Saturday.
NFC
Yeah.
best.
Oof,
I think it's
some good teams in there.
fire,
Yeah.
man.
And then you'll probably figure out the top 5 on Saturday when we do.
We do need to do it. We haven't done it in like 2 weeks.
What else we gonna? Well, some news and all that bull crap. I don't even know there's much news.
I'm off work the next 2 days. That's breaking news.
That is
Hell yeah.
Top Golf Friday.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. And that's about it. So,
one more thing.
Next rankings, RB2's 13 to 24 next week.
We're gonna do that same
What's that?
midweek.
Yeah, same midweek. So this will be available. You'll be listening to this on Thursday or whenever you decide to get to it. All 3 of you.
I could potentially do tonight.
All 3 of you.
I've been
try to
drinking
talk.
an energy drink. So.
I'll be trying to talk my wife into listen to it. All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's it. And thanks for listening and becoming a casualty.
You're
See ya.